This will be one of the best call reviews that I've ever posted on my channel. If you struggle with overthinker prospects, analysis paralysis prospects, where they come on the call and they want more information and they don't trust you and they project all their insecurities and fears onto you, this video is for you. You want to watch it all the way until the end. You want to pull out a pen and paper and take some notes. If you implement what I teach on this call review, it will change your business, your sales, your income. I hope you enjoy it. All right. Any context here?
This was the guy that he will also be a follow-up because he needed to go back into work. He was taking the call from his car, like out in the lot or something. But yeah, this guy's just really looking for some time freedom. He's been in the sales department in the auto industry for the past like 37 years. So he's just looking for that change.
Yeah, I remember seeing this.
Hey, good morning, Jim. I can ask you to unmute there. Hey, can you hear me okay, Jim?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. I can hear you all right.
That's fine.
Hey, wonderful. Yeah, I see you're in the car there. Are you driving?
No, I actually, that's why I was a couple minutes late. I had to get to a place I could just stop and shut down.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I got to a destination so I could take your call and not be driving.
Got it. Wonderful. Appreciate that. Okay, so give me one moment here. It looks like the connection's doing pretty good. Are you able to connect your phone? Because I know that Zoom drains the battery pretty quickly. Want to make sure.
Yeah, I got power run into it.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so just give me one moment. I'm gonna go ahead and let the team know that I'm on with you, and then we can go ahead and get started. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so these calls typically take about 60 minutes or so. Does that time still work for you?
I have that kind of time.
Okay, wonderful. And what I've seen works best on these calls, Jim, is really just getting to know you a bit better, man. Finding out what your goals are, get a better understanding of them, where you're currently at, and where you're trying to go. Okay.
No problem.
And I'm sure you've seen from Andrew's content, we've been able to help out a lot of people. But there just are some people we can't necessarily help. So I hope you can understand that. But if I feel confident by the end of our conversation that we can help you, then I'd be more than happy to walk you through the mentorship and everything that comes with it, expectations and everything. And if not, I'm a pretty blunt, honest guy, and I'll still point you in the best direction that I can. Does that sound good?
All right, sounds good, Lance.
Wonderful. Okay, Jim. So first off, I guess, what's the main thing that you're looking to achieve with Amazon FBA? Is it to have more time, more money, or freedom?
I think I have a few points. I'll touch base with probably three in my head.
Glasses. Analytical. Yep.
I don't.
Bro, it's never wrong.
Right.
Literally never.
Think obviously longer term is time control. I'm not sure if that's a short term goal with the new business. You're probably would have to invest time in order to get it up and running. But longer term goal, yes. I work a lot of hours. I probably work 50 hours one week and 60 something the next week.
Oh wow. Okay, and
I run the sales department of a Chevrolet dealership.
Okay, sales department Chevrolet.
I've been in this car industry, either working for dealers or working for a financial services company for 37 years.
37 years, wow. Really put your time in there. Okay. And those 50 to 60 hours a week, like are those pretty consistent where it's 50 one week, 60 1 week, maybe another week it's 60?
It's pretty consistent. I mean, there's some variances when things are very busy, but that doesn't seem to be the case lately. It's been kind of, car industry's been kind of, the last month has been soft.
You said it's been slower?
Yep.
Okay.
I think the government shutdown has not helped, and the customer's perception of the economy.
Sure. Okay, and that's something you more so just noticed this past week? Past month. Okay. And do you see that kind of sustaining in that regard, or do you see it kind of going back up? Or
obviously, I have to be an optimist being in my profession, but when August was a very good month, September was a slowdown. October is slowing down even further.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm not sure if this is a trend or it's just a blip. It's hard to tell right now.
Right. Have you seen this in the past before? Like, I mean, being in the industry for the past 37 years.
You're asking very good questions, Lance. Good job on trying to get some context from this guy. I'd be curious to know how it being slower affects his pay. Right, because he's probably not salaried with all the deals, commission, and stuff like that. Right, so I'd just be curious, like, what's a good month? What's a bad month? Right, he's been in it for 37 years. Has it been pretty consistent over that, say, at least last 5 years or so?
Right.
Because I would imagine, bro, he's had this desire to have more freedom of time for a while now. A long time. This is just a doorway out of this industry. is what is happening around him with the government shutdown and interest rates and all of those things. So it's like he's probably been thinking about it for a long time. He finally has a way out. And now since things are slower, he wants to entertain other options. We're not going to attack work ethic.
Yeah, he had that.
What we would want to understand is with someone who is intelligent and driven and hardworking and ambitious like this guy, what's been in the way of him actually finding a vehicle online that he could commit to?
Hmm.
See what I mean?
And he actually, I didn't even have to get that out of him. He was very self-aware and just came out with it. I was just like, holy crap.
Have a healthy skepticism with that, Lance, because older guys like this are typically not very aware. And so that would lead me to believe that he may have already had a similar conversation with another company and chose not to move forward. That's why he has the awareness. So just be lenient with these guys in the sense that you're not just getting happy ears and run into the finish line with the baton. Be a
Right.
little bit more patient.
Didn't even think about that. Okay.
Because you would want to know, like, how you're very aware for your age, especially being in this industry as long as you have. Where has that awareness came from?
Mm,
How did you become so aware?
that's good.
When did you start having these thoughts of, hey, maybe there's something better for me. Maybe I shouldn't be working 50 hours a week. And being his age, I'd imagine he's got a family, kids.
Hmm.
That's an assumption.
Would
But
you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
they're working 7 to 7, 6 days a week. It's like crazy hours.
Yeah, I think
And
he's 8 to 9.
he's not even selling. He's managing. So he's managed, and the car industry is very sticky, put it that way.
Mm. And with asking him about like, oh, where that awareness came from, would you, um, what's the word? Would you like acknowledge it first, like reward him first, and then
Yeah.
ask the awareness where it's coming from?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way that you get in with a guy like this is you could say something like this. Um, Hey James, just a moment. I just want to share like how refreshing it is to speak with someone your age who's been in an industry as long as you have. Like the awareness that you have about your situation, it's very refreshing. Like most people your age would just stay stuck in their own way and they would stick to their comfort zone of what they've always known and they'd be very resistant to any potential changes.
Hmm.
Like you'd be surprised the amount of guys I get on calls with that are in a similar situation as yourself that think they have everything figured out. Just so I understand, where did that awareness come from? So you like pad their ego and then you come in the back door and you figure out what's the root. Because through padding the ego, that's what makes them feel affirmed and valued, which builds trust.
Right.
It's when they feel like you're interrogating them and you're trying to take advantage of them. That's where they get agitated and angry and they start trying to control the call because they feel
Mhm.
like you don't have their best interests in mind.
Right. Have you seen it
Yes,
happen before?
yes, I have.
Okay. And
It reminds me, unfortunately, more of 07, 08 right now.
yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Yeah, a little trend in that. I guess how did it kind of look for you then?
Like everything else, you survive this shit, but just it's not fun.
Yeah. Right. Going through it once is one thing, but having to go through it another time and another time.
We really haven't had a turn down. Depends on how you want to look at it, but at least 12 to 13 years.
Oh wow. Okay. So it really had us on the 12, 13 years. Okay.
No, but there's always business cycles. Like I'll give you an example. 2000 was a crap year. 2008 to 2010 were crap years. Every 10 years, though, the economy kind of goes through like a hiccup. People call them recession, same difference.
Sure.
And we haven't had a true recession in a while, but the business cycles don't change.
Sure. Yeah, it's good to get ahead of the curve, right?
So that's the one reason. Two, I want to see if I can develop a company that can hand off to my children. I have three children that are 26, 24, and 18 respectively. And I would like to create something that would be a long-term business for them.
So what is the sole objection that you have to overcome with this guy?
Originally, I was thinking it was time.
Well, time is not even a true objection in reality
Well,
Right.
what is he doing this for, Lance?
for his kids.
And how is he doing it for his kids? He wants what?
More time.
More time with his kids.
Mm,
So if he's doing it so that he can have more time with his kids, he can't use money or time as a reason why he doesn't do it, right?
right.
So it's not time. What is it actually? Overthinking and analysis paralysis.
Mm,
The idea that he needs a guaranteed path of success before he takes the step.
right. And that's why he said if.
Yeah, he's very risk averse. When you hear someone who's wearing glasses, they are tenured in an industry. They're giving you very specific responses, calculated responses. You're talking to someone who mitigates risk. They have that information technology background, software, cybersecurity. That's how his brain works. Very analytical.
Mm,
So everything that you say is going to be perceived through the lens of prove it to me. Prove it. Show me the numbers. Show me the students. Guarantee me success. Then I'll think about doing it. That's what you have to overcome. Because that way of thinking is what has kept him in this job. Because he doesn't trust himself or believe in himself.
mm.
37 years, dude? What makes you think he's going to make a buying decision in 45 minutes talking to you? Especially if the conversation isn't curated around that.
Right.
And that's what I was going to ask. I think my thought process would have been to talk and focus more on the I want more time aspect and how much that would make, a difference for him and what kind of impact would that have the most to the most closest people around him, rather than kind of talking about like the business and like his industry and things like that. Um, so would that
Well,
been
just think
okay
about it.
to kind of
If
focus?
having more time with his kids was the priority,
Hmm.
they wouldn't all be in their late teens, early 20s, and him being in this industry for 37 years.
Hmm.
If he wanted to be with his kids as badly as he wanted to breathe, he wouldn't be in this industry.
Yeah.
This is one of the most time-consuming sales industries that you could be in.
Mm.
So, stubborn in his own way, risk averse, staying in his comfort zone. That's what it is. Because
I mean,
anytime an opportunity presented itself, the first thing that went through his head was, what if it doesn't work? I've been in this industry so long. I've got kids to feed. Right? So it's still admirable, like being responsible, but at what point do you put a line in the sand and say, like, dude, I'm 55 or 65 years old and I'm still working 60 hours a week?
mm,
So you don't think time is the main?
It is, but it isn't. I think the fact that he's as old as he is and he doesn't have any freedom is the reason
Mm.
he's on the call,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but it hasn't been enough to get him over the fence.
Hmm.
Because he has to have been seeing, if he's this aware, he has to have been seeing businesses, online opportunities left and right over the past 5 years, and he's chosen not to do anything, or has he? That's why we want to understand better what he's looked at.
Yeah, got you.
okay, to be able to pass it to children. Okay.
My plan was to try to retire in 8 years. Now, I know myself, I can't go from wide open throttle to zero. That just isn't me. I would probably go nuts.
Yeah.
So, but to have a business that I would be able to control the hours investment, and again, if I needed more support, kids investment in terms of time, that kind of flexibility has an appeal.
Okay. And what about that flexibility? How's that appeal for you?
Well, you may not know, I travel, and again, I have a relatively short commute now. I commute about an hour and change a day round trip. This is, I'm telling you, relatively easy. I live my house is about 50 miles east of Manhattan. I used to,
50 miles east. pick up on the specifics. He said, my kids are 18, 22, and 26 respectively.
Respectively, yeah.
Yeah, listen to his verbiage, dude. You think for 1 second that you're going to pitch him in 5 minutes and go through a couple logistics and he's going to be sold? No way, dude.
Like,
You'd be out of your mind if you thought so. So I have to overcome him. His brain says, I'm on the call to get more information. The information will make me more comfortable in taking the step. Then I'll do it. No, it won't.
And it's so crazy because I think sometimes we get these kind of people on the call and we're like, oh my God, this dude is super self-aware. This guy
right.
is very detailed and specific. If I give him the information that he is looking for, he'll be ready to make a choice or a decision. And I think I've mistaken that a lot in the past sometimes is we just, well, this person is very self-aware. They need the information. Let me give them the information
Yep.
and then they'll be ready to buy. But
Yeah.
that's not, it's the complete opposite, actually.
It's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So that way of thinking has got him in this job where he's working 60 hours a week. His doing. So our sales process should be around, look what you've done. Look what you've done. Look at the actions you have not taken. When, W-H-E-N, when are you going to step up and do things differently so that you can have what you want?
Would you flat out just let them know, like, about, I mean, calling out, like, I can tell you're very analytical, you know, you've been very precise with your answers and stuff, and just letting him know, like, yeah, what I've seen from people like this is, yeah, they're very just risk adverse, just flat out calling it out for what it is, and they want all
Yeah,
the
dude.
information.
Yes.
Okay.
Commute to Manhattan daily for one of my jobs. That was a 4-hour commute daily. Wow. I did that for the better part of 2 years. It was a long day. I would leave my house at 5:30 a.m. and get home at 8:30 at night.
Man.
So people ask, "Are you driven?" I have deeper batteries than most people.
Yeah, the work
But
ethic was there.
I can tell he's humble.
Yeah.
I've worked in the car industry so far 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for dealerships. I worked for 2 financial services companies, Ally and Mercedes-Benz Financial, and worked for Mercedes-Benz Corporate as well. But the appeal for me is this: is just get a business I can start while still working my primary job.
I have to get you to a point, Lance, where when you're hearing this guy talk, you know he's in analysis paralysis and he's an overthinker and he's in his own way. You have to read that.
Right.
Have to. If you don't read it, then you just shove him in the regular process and it doesn't work.
Exactly.
It will never work. So are you in a place where seeing it now, you're confident enough that you know how to categorize someone like this?
Yeah, so literally just glasses, someone that's very specific with the verbiage, just boom, instant analysis paralysis overthinker.
100%.
Got it.
Try and then get it scaled up and look at potentially exiting the oil field if I can. But when I can, I hate to hate it, but if I can, when I can.
Oh, that's very important that you even picked up on that, Jim.
Good job.
That's the proper mindset to have, because it's not if, because that if is just like the uncertainty behind it.
Well, don't lecture him, Lance. So he picked up on it, but that's happy ears. When you're like, oh,
Right.
dude, you got it, man. You got it, bro.
Mhm.
It's not if, it's when. Lecturing. So you would want to challenge him on it. I heard you correct yourself, but I heard a if. Where does that if come from? Because the if is the same if that's kept him from taking the step in the past. Be on top of that. Let him unpack that. He may tell you about past experiences. You don't want to put him in the fragile box where you give him an easier experience than the next person because you think that he's ready to go. He's not. If he was ready to go, he would have said, Andrew, send me a link. I'm ready to join. I'll pay it right now. No need for the call.
But when you say when that you can, that's the confidence and certainty that you have in yourself that you will make it work. And that's how the most successful people, not even just with us, but in general, achieve what they set out to do, especially when they're coming into something new, right?
As I said, I've been doing sales most of my life. I've been running sales teams as a manager for 23 years of some sort.
Mhm.
And I found when I have applied myself, I've been successful at everything I've attempted.
Yep.
Examples would be black belt in martial arts. Approximately 3 and change years ago, I did not like the way I looked in the mirror. I allowed my weight to get near 290 pounds.
Wow.
In a year and change, I took it from 292 to 185.
Congratulations, man. That's amazing.
That's not GLP. That's me. What I mean by that, that's strictly diet and physical exercise, no drugs at all.
What it takes.
Oh, it sucks. It's just consistent, for me, consistent heavy weightlifting was the way I lost weight. Cardio did not work. It worked slightly. It's a better way of putting it. It worked slightly, but doing weightlifting made a monstrous difference.
Yeah, get that lean muscle mass. But
And obviously, and diet, obviously, going to a calorie cap for a long time was part of
totally.
that. So, as I said, when I apply myself, and I have, I've been successful at every heavy endeavor I've tried. I have never tried being an entrepreneur.
Why not? What could he say to that?
The reason that's held him back, hopefully.
What's an example?
Like asking him that. What's an example?
Yeah. Lance, I have a family. I've got kids. I make good money. Right? Well, if that's the case, they're not going anywhere. Bills are not going anywhere. Could you see how that way of thinking would lead us to be in this industry as long as we have been, lacking the freedom that we want for ourselves and for our family? Because we haven't even talked about how much money he's making. How much is he making?
I believe it was in the 20s.
So like 250K a year or so?
Yeah,
It's good money. What about whenever it's down?
22 to 25K.
What about when it's down? What does that do? I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's been a combination of paralysis by analysis, fear.
Nice. Knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that. Second I saw his face.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the second the Zoom starts, you gotta categorize the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
Have to. Have to, have to, have to, have to, have to. It gives you the
And-
upper hand, dude.
Yeah. So with that, so glasses, specific verbiage, analysis paralysis, the overthinker, and then
Long answers too.
the long answers. And then the overweight person, that's more of just like a lack of self-belief, discipline.
Mm-hmm. Exactly correct.
And then is there other ones? I feel like those are like the two main ones that.
Those are the two main ones.
Fear is a bad word. Allow myself to be comfortable in current circumstances is probably another one of those in there.
Okay, but he said analysis paralysis in regards to what though? Did you go deep enough into what this guy had looked at?
He looked at acquiring multifamily.
I'd imagine
think
he's
that- I
done
think-
much more than just that.
Yeah, I think it was just the multifamily. He said he was going to like hotel meetups and stuff. Well, yeah. Well, that's very good self-awareness, Jim, because it's very refreshing to hear that I didn't even have to essentially get it out of you, right? Because I can't tell you, this is just coming from someone that takes thousands of these calls, Jim, because how self-aware that you are knowing that, it's just very refreshing to hear, because people come on these calls thinking that they have everything figured out, everything's okay. And with the self-awareness that you have, and just even going from correcting yourself when you say if and correcting it to when, that's essentially you being the guarantee that it will happen. that level of self-awareness and just that.
But he needs to be held accountable as to why he hasn't done anything over the last 37 years.
Right.
Yeah, you don't give him a little lollipop and just pass him along.
Yeah.
That
Follow
won't,
it
that
up
won't
with a,
ever work.
yeah, follow it up with like a but or however kind of,
And
and
we haven't done anything.
mm-hmm.
So what is causing the analysis paralysis, if I can ask? He says, here's the objection, Lance. Here it is. He literally put it on a silver platter and you said, okay, cool, great. You're ready to go. Transition. So just realize this. Take it as a learning lesson. Just because they're aware does not mean that they're willing to move forward.
Mm.
That awareness came from somewhere. May have been a recent conversation, may have been a conversation that happened a while ago. But when you're talking to someone who's tells you they're in analysis paralysis, we need to figure out what is causing that.
What's behind that?
What is the fear that comes up in your mind when it comes to taking this step? What's the voice in your head telling you? Do you believe it? All those conversations. Because if I can get him to say, I don't believe that it's true, and I'm willing to take the step, and I'm not going to allow it to hold me in chains anymore, what kind of results are we going to get from that?
If hopefully.
Great results.
Mm-hmm. Knowing that you can get it done because everything that you've applied yourself to, you've been successful with. And is it fair to say because of your level of commitment to those things for you to lose the weight and the success that you've had in your industry over the course of 37 years has been because of your commitment to that?
I think a lot of things in life. God, that's it. Getting rid of phone calls. My phone consistently blows up.
Yeah.
Um,
I hate when my phone blows up. I hate whenever it follows me everywhere that I go.
Seriously.
I hate whenever I'm spending time with my fiance and I'm so distracted by my phone and the notifications and the Slack messages and the phone calls that she looks at me and she says, I wish you were with me. I don't feel connected to you. You feel cold. You feel distant. Because when things are going great, dude, money's coming in, clients are winning, owners are happy. It's great. What about when it's not great, though? What about whenever that grip of control gets stronger and stronger, and that fear gets stronger and stronger, and uncertainty? What about that? Because you can't have one without the other. That's the conversation I want to be having. I want to be talking about him being distant from his family, cold with his wife,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that his kids don't know him, the fact that he hasn't been able to be there for them in the way that he wanted to. I've had grown men break down crying, talking about how they've missed out on all of their kids' sports and activities, and how all they wish they could do is just be in the stands cheering on their kids. Yet they're working all day, every day. Do you know how many millionaires look back at their life and the reason that they worked so hard was for their family, but all their family wanted was them to be there for them?
100%.
Because there's one side of the equation on your deathbed where all you did was work hard. All you did was allow fear to drive you. Because the common theme in your brain is, if I don't work this hard, I'll lose everything. AKA, I don't trust God to actually provide for me. And on the deathbed, you just wish you would have trusted God more. You wish you would have said no to work and yes to your family, because your family doesn't even know you. On the flip side, you got the guy who never took the risk, who's on his deathbed thinking, what if? So there's a balance. So this guy needs to understand that his decisions and his choices have consequences. If I sat down with his kids, dude, and his wife and asked about this guy, how present he was, how available he was, how consistent he was, probably would have mixed reviews if they were honest. So it's much deeper than the surface level stuff we're talking about right now. And it's because we're putting him in the fragile box and we're giving him an easier process than the next person. If you asked the right questions, you would have this guy in tears.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. So just
Like
learn from it.
Yeah, and even just asking him, yeah, if I were to ask your wife and kids and got an honest answer from them, like, how would they be feeling with you working so much?
Yeah.
Or how present you are with them?
I think even a better one that we talked about last week that I've used a couple times that really lands is like, what was it? From from a scale to like 1 to 10, like how happy, how
Happy, yeah.
fulfilled, how, you know, grateful or thankful of the time that you have with your
Well,
family and
dude,
communities.
simple question. Simple question, guys. Write it down, pin it, whatever. When you're talking to somebody who's working this amount of hours, you want to ask, so you working 50 hours a week or 60 hours a week, what are you missing out on with your family? You're providing for them financially, but deep down, something's missing for you. Whether it's time with your wife, time with your kids, what does that look like? Do you hear my tone?
Yeah.
Strong empathy, curiosity. Guys, emotional intelligence will separate you from the 99% of guys taking calls like you are. I listened to a sales call yesterday from a sales rep of mine that I trained probably 2 years ago. He got an understanding of the framework, but he never got that level of depth where you're really digging. It's very high level questions.
Yeah.
And the guy he's talking to is super type A, pitch me already, get into the process, trying to control the conversation. And the closer didn't pick up on any of it. He's trying to play the same game, roughhousing, wrestling with the dude. If I was on that call, I'd be like, hey, dude, that ego, put it to the side. We're not going to continue another second if you keep that ego. Straight up. You're a business owner. I'm a business owner. We both understand how these conversations go. But the only way this is going to work is if you humble yourself. Is that something you're opposed to? It stops right there. And if it keeps coming, I'm like, hey, dude, ego, once again, put the ego to the side. It's not going to work with ego. So we have to be self-aware enough and emotionally intelligent enough to discipline these people. Encourage the good, discipline the bad. Encourage the good, discipline the bad. Get the honest truth out. Because this guy doesn't rush off to work or wherever he's going if we have the right conversation with him. If we have a surface level conversation with him, phone ends, computer closes, life goes on, he forgets. as we all do. Crystal clear?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me is just, yeah, not, yeah, I mean, just being worried about stepping on the toes, like getting them agitated
Yeah.
and not trying to come off as just like, yeah,
But if he gets agitated with you, he's not actually mad at you. He's mad at himself.
right. Calling out his faults.
He's mad at himself. There's this guy, Julian. He does a lot of communication, psychology, a lot of stage teaching and speaking at events. He's got a pretty big social media following, but he talks about psychology with people. And there was this one video that went viral of him looking into the audience and being like, "Hey, you," and pointing at someone in the front row. And he's like, "I hate your blue hair. I hate it." And everyone's laughing because the person in the audience doesn't have blue hair. So it had no effect on them. But if you're a little self-conscious and you know you haven't been hitting the gym, and you know you've been overeating and you haven't been consistent, and someone looks at you and says, "Hey, dude, you put on some weight. You need to lose some weight."
It's gonna struck a nerve.
Straight to the core.
Yeah.
Now you're defensive because you know it's true.
Mm-hmm.
You may get angry. You know it's true. Truth hurts. You don't know me. I've been working all these hours. I am working hard. Who are you to say that to me? That's where that comes from. That's why we have to keep our tone down. Hey, I wasn't trying to offend you. I can tell that rubbed you the wrong way. What's coming up for you? Strong emotional intelligence. Don't start playing his game, raising your voice, arguing with him. That's not going to go anywhere. What is that going to do? It's a Zoom call, dude. We're not in person. Click. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, yeah, the example with that, because actually one of my buddies called out one of our other buddies for how fat he was getting. But he didn't take it in the way it was just like, "Oh, dude, how could you say that about me?" Blah blah. He took it as like, "Oh crap, I need to lose this weight." Like he didn't take it
Why?
personally.
Why?
I think he has that stronger emotional intelligence, right?
I would argue. Why would he not take it personally?
Because he knew that his friend was telling him
Friend,
it was coming from a good place.
friend,
Mm-hmm.
friend. Someone he trusts
Mm-hmm.
told him that. Someone that he knew had his best interest
interest.
in mind told him that.
Yeah.
These people don't know us. That's why they get offended. But when you have strong emotional intelligence and you sit in the gap and you're patient with the person, they trust you.
That's why nice versus kind helps before you
Yes.
step on their throat and start calling things out.
Yes.
And
But
you
just
just
realize, guys, it's
Mhm.
not a word track.
Yeah.
It's not a word track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can feel it.
Yeah, I've developed that over time of every single moment in a conversation that I realize I'm not getting the answer that I need. I'm patient and I reframe it, or I understand it better, or I challenge it, or I reward it, or I discipline it every single time. There's no idle space where I'm not paying attention to what they're saying. I'm distracted. I'm locked in listening to every single word coming out of their mouth because the information is there.
Right.
They'll give you all the information that you need. But if you're not paying attention, and you're not skilled enough to know where you're going, that's why you don't do anything with it.
Hmm.
It's just a waste of time. And they feel it. And so when you give them those backhanded comments, trying to reframe them without strong emotional intelligence, it doesn't land. It gets argumentative. Who are you to say that? All that comes from we're not on the same page.
Right.
We can only not be on the same page if I'm doing a poor job. That's the only way. People want to feel like you care about them. And even if you do care about them, if you're unable to communicate that effectively, doesn't matter because they don't know you once again. And they've probably been on a call and they have a certain expectation on how the call is going to go.
Yeah.
And when we're not showing up the way that we should on the call, we validate all the concerns they had prior. Got me?
Yep.
Success for me, I found, at least for me, is always obviously builds on success, right? If you again text and words, so let's see what this is. I just gave someone direction back. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
But success, I found for me and most people, it builds on success, right? If you say you can do something and you execute it and you do it, no matter how you give yourself a little mental gold star. See, I did this, and when the next opportunity presents itself, you can do it again. And you
Yeah,
can use that same. You can use that same example. You go into a ring in martial arts, right? If you think you're going to get your butt kicked, you will. You
Yeah.
have to have the mindset that when you step into the ring, I got this.
Yep, that you've already won.
You will win. It's just a matter of how long it'll take.
Correct. Right, and that's that commitment to it. Right. And with
It just-
Tristan, something that
Yep.
so even just using his own analogy there would have been good. Just be like, well, why haven't we stepped into the ring then?
Correct.
Damn.
Yeah. And he would have told you.
I think before all that, though, is getting a little bit more context on what he has actually tried, though, and what he has actually done. And once we can dissect and have him tell us, well, I haven't even tried anything online. I've done a bunch of research. And it's like, well, you said earlier X, Y, and Z. So what's kind of been holding you back?
Actually
Correct.
stepping in the ring that you've been interested in doing, right? I guess how long has it been a goal of yours to step into being an entrepreneur and start rowing?
My first thing. I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you. I
into-
apologize.
Yeah, no worries. But essentially, just because, like what you mentioned, that you want to be able to step into something entrepreneurially and work for yourself. It's not necessarily how hard you row the boat, but the boat that you're in, right? So for how hard you've been working in your current position for the past 37 years to apply this to a business of your own, I guess how long has that been a goal of yours for?
I started originally looking at starting a business probably about 3 years ago. My initial foray into exploration was real estate, specifically looking at multifamily real estate out of state in Connecticut. And
Okay. So we need to figure out for this guy, what is the main goal? Never got it. Never got a goal from this guy.
Mm.
Because if he says, I need to be at home with my kids, kids are all grown. I don't know what the goal is. It may be being with his 18-year-old or the 22-year-old. It may be like, dude, I just want some flexibility and freedom of time. That is what anchors one specific word: online. What have you tried online over the last 3 years to put yourself in a position where you can make 10K a month, 15K a month, whatever he needs to make, so that you can have the freedom that you need for yourself? Never got a goal. So that is a misstep in the process that allows this guy to talk about real estate or washing the neighbor's dog or their car
Mm.
or starting a lemonade stand. Stuff that does not pertain to what we're talking about right now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, so even when he said like, yeah, I want to be able to pass something, because he said, oh, two things, like the time, but then being able to pass something down to my kids or have the business within the kids. But that's just like the surface, like what's actually behind that.
Right.
I've
That's
also, sorry, I was just gonna say, I've also been adding to that opening question. What I've actually done is, what's the biggest reason you're looking into starting your Amazon store right now? And that kind of helps narrow
biggest
one
reason.
specific reason, and that's helped because yeah, now they go into this tangent of like all these reasons and all the stuff, but what's the biggest reason you're
Mm-hmm.
looking to make money right now with the
Mm-hmm.
Amazon store?
Do you still ask like,
When I
is it more time, more money, more freedom, or do you just say
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
what's the biggest
yeah,
reason?
I'll still guide them in that direction, right? So
Yeah.
what's the biggest reason you're looking to make money with the Amazon store? Is it to like replace your 9 to 5? Is it to have more time, more freedom? And in that way, I'm still guiding them a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
started really looking at these when I was looking at everything I was looking at in terms of the housing was complicated. And by complicated means these houses need serious renovations to be safe for people. Constructed, they were leaning, they were wet rotting. They had wiring in the houses that was it's called wire and bulb. Everybody's cool.
You're a
All right.
popular guy, Jim.
It's good and bad. It makes you know that your my phone just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. Do you want it to stop?
Mm.
How long have you wanted it to stop?
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, it just I didn't like what I was seeing, and I didn't feel comfortable. Yeah, I want to make money, but I also want to make sure the people I was making money from stayed safe. Uh, so I apologize. I'm getting a text from my son. My mom fell down, and as I'm talking to you, and my son went and checked on her, and she's okay. So I saw that message. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. I'm
My
glad
mom,
to hear that she's okay.
yeah, 81-year-old mom hitting the ground is not a good thing. But
Yeah, that's not what you want to hear. Yeah.
so anyway, back to what I was saying before. So that's why I looked at that. I started looking at Instagram opportunities. As you can probably guess, there's just a few people putting stuff on Instagram. Um,
How long ago was the multifamily?
Who gives a rip? He just brought up Instagram, seeing several influencers doing something similar to us. When? When? What? Where? How?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares about multifamily? He just said that it's too complicated.
Yeah,
Pointless.
my thought behind that was just like, okay, was that more recent or was that something he tried like 10 years ago and then just hasn't done anything since if it was like 10 years ago?
I hear you. Just realize that that does not matter at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And we can't do anything. Like, what? We're going to build a strategy for him to do multifamily?
Right.
Just discount it.
Okay.
But it's because we didn't ask the online question. What have you tried online?
Mm-hmm.
You asked, what have you tried to become a entrepreneur, business
Entrepreneur.
owner?
Yeah. You looking into the
2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, maybe.
2 years ago? Okay. Um, and other than that, I guess, what have you looked into or what have you tried or
We just told you. I mean this with love. Lock in.
Mhm.
Lock in on what they're telling you. Because he just said it. And pierce on the things that matter, not the things that don't.
All right. Sure.
That is as far as I've tried.
Okay, so just looking into it.
Oh, I went as far as going as a traveling. I don't know if you know geography well. I live in Long Island, New York, about 50 miles east of Manhattan. I was driving up to
High living expenses. Very high living expenses. We're talking $8,000 a month plus expenses without a family.
Bristol, Connecticut, which is you might know is the home of ESPN, which
Uh-huh.
from here is about a 2.5 hour drive.
Okay.
So I took time, probably I spent a few weeks looking at houses, real estate, going around with brokers, getting pre-approved mortgages. I mean,
But that doesn't matter. We can't help him with that. He talked about Instagram influencers, content creators posting stuff similar to us. I want to talk about that
Yeah.
because he saw it and he opted in and he looked at it and then he said, I'll do it tomorrow. Or maybe this isn't for me. Or I'm not convinced. Or how do I know it's going to work? That's what he said. That's why he's on the call with you.
I started moving towards doing this. Looking at getting entry home equity on my home to start taking cash to front that business.
Right.
But it just maybe the cost of entry and what I was seeing just didn't line up in my head.
What do you mean by that?
I was going to have to come up with probably $100,000 in cash, and that wasn't going to potential renovations required. But I felt to keep people safe. And the return on investment was going to take a while to bring back that kind of money.
Right.
It was going to be a short-term tax strategy, but it'd be a much longer-term ROI return.
Okay.
Probably more for my children than for me.
Yeah. And I guess what have you been looking towards as far as like being able to make money online? Like how long has that been a goal of yours for?
It's something I've been exploring relatively short-term. I'd say over the last 45 days.
4 or 5 days. Okay.
45 days, sorry.
45 days. Okay. As far as numbers go, I guess where would you need to be at in terms of income on a monthly basis with your online business to put you in a position so you can have the flexibility you're looking for and walk away from your 9 to 5?
I'd have to look at probably $25,000 a month.
Okay. Is that what you're currently doing right now with your current position?
Correct. Yep. Actually, about 20, 22, 23 right now. So I feel benefits a little part of it. Let's say 20K is probably a real number.
Okay. 20K. Okay, no problem. And so it's been a goal of yours, I mean, to even just be an entrepreneur, start your own business so you can
Yep.
put yourself in a position to be able to walk away from your position for the past 37 years for the greater part of 3 years or so. Like that, having that realization kind of popped into your head 3 years ago when you started thinking about like the multifamily and what you could do.
Hey, well, he just said, I'll have to come up with $100,000, which tells me he probably doesn't have a ton of liquid capital. That's an assumption. Then he says, I would need to make $20,000 a month. That ain't going to happen overnight. So what that tells me is I would need to get some more context about what does that look like after expenses for him? Like how close is he to that number every single month? Because if he's really close to that number, it's turning into someone we can't help. If he has to make $20,000 a month every single month in order to provide for his family, otherwise he's in the negative, I'm like, dude, you have dug yourself into a grave, brother. Poor spending habits, living above your means, living in a city that you can't afford to live in. And that's a conversation we can't have. But I'm going to do right by this guy and be like, what are we doing? You know you're not going to make that kind of money overnight. So what expectations can we set? Is it 5? Is it 10? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to let go of? What adjustments are you willing to make? Because I care and I want to put him in the best position, and that's what builds trust. But he ain't going to make 20K in his first month. No way. So that's the call. Lance, was that helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because even in the beginning of the call, he said, yeah, I can't go from foot on the throttle to 0. Like that would kill me. And I think that's exactly what, you're referring
well, dude,
to.
that's what he says at the end of the call. He goes, I got to go deeper into the negative with this guy to afford the tuition. And what if it doesn't work? And what if I'm unable to provide? Like, that's what he's thinking, dude. That's what he's thinking. Those are the objections, the fear. I'm like, well, dude, if we do nothing, what are you going to work at a car dealership until you're 70? Like, what's the alternative? Real conversation. The actual conversation that needs to be had.
I think you mentioned you have a follow-up with him today.
It's gonna have to be sometime later this week because he was trying to do it this morning, but he said he would be driving, so I didn't want to take the call while he was driving.
What do you recommend for lads going into the second call?
What do you think?
I would, number one, I would bring up all the pain that he just mentioned, that he talked about before jumping into anything. And maybe because we missed on, some of the pointers is dig a little bit more before we go into numbers and things like that. But yeah, I would bring up the pain again. It's just like based off what we talked about, just so I make sure that I didn't miss anything, you know. It was important for you to have more time with your family. You're tired of your phone blowing up. You know, you've been doing this for 37 years. You're ready for a change. And it sounds like, you know, what's kind of been holding you back is just procrastinating, being analysis paralysis, you know, and then just maybe challenging him again. So, you know, do you feel truly like you're willing to make a change and do something different and, you know, not allow the analysis paralysis to continue holding you back
Yeah.
before getting into all that?
Yeah, just be real with him. You open the conversation, hey, I've been thinking about our conversation since yesterday. Here's some things that I wanted to share with you out of love, because I really do care about you and I empathize with what you're going through. You're a very hardworking man. Lay into him. And just be real. I promise you, dude, your conversation's going to be way better if you're just real with him. And now you have all the leverage. But the main thing is not, let me bring my calls always to Tristan and just see what he has to say. It's like, take what I'm saying on these calls and actually absorb it. Like if you listen to everything that I just said for the last hour and you took notes and you really internalized what I just said, your calls would be completely different.
Yeah.
Read that guy like a book. The second the call started, knew everything I needed to know and knew everywhere you needed to go with the guy to get him closed. Dude, he's in the car. He's got no freedom. No freedom. Stuck in the car. Blown up on text. I'm like, dude, what are we going to do? What's the plan, brother? Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, guys. Make it the best day you possibly can. Have fun.
All right.
Thanks, Tristan.
Thanks,
Later,
guys.
boys. Love y'all.